Hello today. Today we're going to talk about the best place you can store your hard-earned money. So we'll start with the best and go down to the worst. So, in my opinion, this is the bestest you can do is Bitcoin and cold storage. The cons are you can lose your coins due to negligence, lose your coins due to phishing attacks. Pros are you hold your keys in a self-sovereign way. Pros is it cannot be hacked. Pros is there's a number of setups for any situation. So you can have called custody between multiple people, multiple situations for companies, individuals, multi-sig, whatever. Cons are you can lose your coins due to negligence, lose your coins via not understanding how to use the hardware wallet, how to use cold storage, and setting yourself up for attacks is the next biggest con. So phishing, there's no one to call when you lose your coins. They're just gone. The biggest pros is it cannot be hacked. You always see these hacking attempts on any Bitcoin, but it's always, they're not hacking the network itself. They're hacking somebody who holds the keys. And it's always a person's weakest link, not the protocol, not the storage device. Next one is a tax-free investment account holding the Bitcoin ETF. You have Bitcoin price exposure, but you don't hold the asset. Pro is it's tax-free, but there's always a limit to how much you can put in these accounts. And pro, possible exchange for Bitcoin in the future, tax-free. So it's a possibility in the future you can take these accounts out, take these funds out of these accounts and put them right into Bitcoin. Con is there's always a management fee. Management fees usually 1 or 2%, depending on the ETFs, and you also got to have a custodian holding the ETFs, holding yours. And there is a Bitcoin 6102 attack. They'll probably maintain your shares. So next is Bitcoin on exchange. And the only difference is between this one and this one is that you have it's not tax free. So this one is tax free, but this one there's a few more cons. So it's but there is you have the full price exposure. So you don't have the management fees, but you have more risks, I think. So the risk is not your keys, not your coins. Exchange go out of business, and so someone they're gonna pretty much just fold and steal your coins. And 6102 attack, the government can call up the exchange and say, "Oh, we want all this Bitcoin," and now they're forced to liquidate you pretty much, and they give you dollars in exchange. So next one is tax-free accounts with stocks. Pro, tax-free. Con, you can only invest the way the government sees fit. So you can't do a lot of investments because the government has a stake in it. They want you to follow the tax rules. So, and con, you net out over time compared to inflation. So with all the ones above, you're probably going to beat inflation since Bitcoin will beat inflation. But these ones, you'll probably be at par with inflation, and you got to hold stocks, and there's a lot more risks if you don't know which stocks to pick. Tax-free account with bonds or cash. Pro, tax-free. Con, you only invest in government ways sees fit. And double con, you lose compared to inflation. If you just put cash or bonds in a tax-free account, there's no real advantage because you're already losing because inflation's already beating out the assets. Cash, the next one. Pro, you can deploy funds as opportunities. as you see fit. So pros, you can hold your own bills. There's also a con, risk of theft, the same as Bitcoin and self custody, but it's higher because they can just come and they don't have to hack your device or give you your 12 words. They can just come and take your bills. And con, you lose over time compared to inflation. So the one truly thing I see about cash is you can just put it into, you can just hold it short term. When you don't understand something, has the price were to dip, you can deploy it real easily. Investment account holding BTC ETF. So pro, your price exposure. Pro, can possibly exchange for Bitcoin in the future or withdraw it. And the con is management fees. And also another con here is taxes. So another con is taxes. So, but you're gonna hold cash. These ones, you can just deploy it into Bitcoin as you go when you see fit. So that's why I put cash ahead of these two. So investment account with stocks, you have neutral, so capital gains tax, and then you pretty much it's not your money is the same. Um, so this is not right. The government does not have any share, but they have a share to tax you, and your investments net out with inflation. And this is like RSP, which is I'm not too sure of the equivalent in the U.S., but I think it's like 401k. And con, carrot and stick, small tax advantages for large tax payments in the future based on income tax. So the problem with these accounts is this always is when you withdraw, it's counted as income. So that's a really big con, maybe even a double con, because you have to pay a lot more in taxes in the future, and it's not really. And the second one is not really your funds because the government has 50% share because they'll tax you that at a really high rate in the future. Yeah, so any of these 401k RSP accounts, it's on the back end. Its goal is not to provide you, its goal is to provide a steady income down the road for the government and you, but mostly for the government. It's not really meant to help you out. You get some peanuts at the end. Your investment is net out with inflation. So you're going to pay a lot more taxes in the future, and pretty much your purchasing power hasn't really increased that much. Unless you really know what you're doing and you can beat out the inflation rate. RSP with bonds, cash, or low yielding investments. Con, the carrot and the stick, small tax advantages with a large tax payments in the future. So it's just like above, but you're pretty much losing in time as compared to inflation. So you have the CDs and that every year your purchasing power is less compared to what you could have got. You just would have spent that money. So, and you also got to pay huge tax in the end just to get money out in the end. And worst kind of here's government pension plan. You have price exposure to who knows which assets, and they're probably losing against inflation. They're probably holding bonds or some other garbage. They have no control. It's not your money, so 50% share on the back end. Its goal is to provide a steady income down the road for the government. And con, you lose out over time compared to inflation. Other con, others get paid out first. So pretty much all retirees, all the money paying to whatever government pension plan is just going straight to retirees now. And who knows what you get in the future. You might get a smaller and smaller share. And you have zero control over how much you can withdraw or what. And the last is a con is you're forced to pay in by the state. So these things like we have in Canada is pretty much you're forced to pay in by the state, and you pretty much have no control over what you're paying or where it's going, and you have to trust on some manager the government hires, and they're probably incentivized not to help you in the end, but to how to get the most money for today's retirees, and they don't care about down the road. So that's the list of worst to best. So the best is always hold your own keys, understand how to hold them. And the worst is just to trust the government with everything and count on them to backstop you in your elderly years. And yeah, so don't trust the government, buy Bitcoin instead.